Hey y'all, it's Crystal here from Christico Design. Today we are making the Modena Patchwork Blanket. Crochet squares. There are 12 12-inch squares and we use 9 different colors for this blanket. You're going to need a 5mm crochet hook and about 2,561 yard of number 4 medium worsted weight yarn. I'm using Lion Brand's Wool Ease. 2 balls of Fisherman, the white color, which we'll use for the border and the joining of the blanket squares. 1 ball of gray heather, which I use in the border pattern. 1 ball cranberry for 1 square, number 11. 1 ball dark rose heather for 1 square, number 8. 2 balls gold for 2 squares, number 10 and number 6. 2 balls natural heather for 3 squares, number 2, number 5, and number 9. 1 ball red for 1 square, number 4. 1 ball rose heather for 1 square, number 7. And 2 balls wheat for 3 squares, number 1, number 3, and number 12. Each square design is a unique stitch pattern, and so I start with the easiest ones and move up through to the harder ones, even though they are all easy skill level patterns. That way, if one is just too challenging or you don't care for it, you can just make 2 of another square you already know how to make. If you have 2 balls of one color, then you'll be able to make 3 squares with the 2 balls. As each of the square patterns is different, use either the double crochet or the half double crochet squares 1 and 2, to check your gauge. The gauge for double crochet is 4 by 4 inches. Will give you 12 double crochets and 7.5 rows of double crochet. If you want to use half double crochet for your gauge, then your 4 by 4 will be 12 half double crochets and 10.5 rows of half double crochet. And these numbers are after blocking your squares. The finished size of this blanket is 42 inches wide by 58 inches long, and to get that we make the 12 12-inch squares and we arrange them in a 3 by 4 array, and then we will join them and add our border. Okay, without further ado, we will get started making our squares. In this video, I just cover how to make the squares. I have 2 separate videos that go after this one for how to whip stitch join your squares together, because I wanted to go in good detail with that tutorial for you. So look in the description for the links to the following videos where you learn how to join the squares and then how to make the border. This video has 12 blanket square patterns for you. So after you finish each square to the height you need, which is 11.5 inches, you're going to continue in the same color right from where you are and add a single crochet border around. Chain 1 and turn your square, and into the side of the rows work single crochets evenly. The exact number is not important. You just want to make sure that it's not causing the edge to curve in or up, which means you don't have enough. It's too few stitches. Or turning wavy or curly will mean you have too many stitches. Once you reach your corners, you're going to place a single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet back in the same stitch. And you'll do that for all 4 corners. Once you get back around the whole square, you'll join back up to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. Then you can cut yarn and weave in ends. Okay, for our first square, we are in the color wheat, and the stitch multiple is any number plus 2 for the starting chain. For our 11.5 inch square, we'll chain 38. Then you're going to double crochet in the 3rd chain from your hook, and in each chain across the row. Turn your work, chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet in the next stitch, and in each stitch across. Turn your work. Now you'll repeat row 2 until your square measure is 11.5 inches. When your square is 11.5 inches tall, you will chain 1 at the corner and turn and work single crochets around the whole square, placing a single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet in each corner to keep them square. Then you join back up to the first single crochet and you can cut the yarn and weave in your ends. Okay, for a second square we are in Natural Heather, and this is a half double crochet square, so you can chain any number plus 1 for the starting chain if you need to adjust your stitch multiple. For the 11.5 by 11.5 inch square, you're going to chain 38. Then in the second chain from your hook, you're going to place 1 half double crochet and then continue placing half double crochets in each stitch across. Okay, after you have worked a half double crochet in each chain across the row, turn your work and chain 1, which doesn't count. Place a half double crochet in that same stitch and in each stitch across. This square is a 1 row repeat, so you'll just repeat row 2 for the length of your square. You want to get to about 11.5 inches. Remember, when your square is as tall as you need, that you'll want to continue around, adding a single crochet border. Okay, for square 3 we are in the color Wheat, and your stitch multiples any number plus 1 for the starting chain. So you'll chain 39. In the second chain from your hook, you'll place a single crochet, and then you'll continue working single crochets in each stitch. Once you've worked a single crochet in each chain across, turn your work, chain 1, this doesn't count, single crochet in the same stitch and in each single crochet to the end of the row. Once you get to the end of the row, turn your work again. For row 3, we're going to work front loop single crochets across. So chain 1, working under the front loop only, single crochet in that same stitch and in each stitch to the end of the row. Turn your work. For row 4, we'll chain 1, and we're going to work back loop only single crochets across the row. So we're going in the back loop, working a single crochet, your even rows, row 4, row 2, will be your right side rows where you see these textured lines. Okay, so now you're going to repeat row 2, your regular single crochet row 2 times, and then you're going to repeat your front loop only row and your back loop only row. So it'll be a 4 row repeat. 2 rows of single crochet, 1 row of front loop only single crochet, one row of back loop only single crochet. Keep repeating those 4 rows until your square measures 11.5 inches tall. Okay, for square 4 we are using the red, and your stitch multiple is an odd number. You're going to chain 41 and single crochet in the second chain from your hook. Then double crochet in the next chain. Then repeat that across, single crochet, then double crochet in the next, single, double. Your last stitch will be a double crochet. And you're ready to turn your work. Chain single crochet in that same stitch, double crochet in the next, single crochet in the next, double crochet in the following. Keep repeating that across. You're placing a single crochet in top of a double and a double crochet on top of a single. Again, you will end with a double crochet. Turn your work and repeat row 2 until your square measures 11.5 inches tall. Okay, for square 5, we're in the color Natural Heather. And your stitch multiple is 2 plus 2 for the starting chain. So you will chain 36. Then starting in the 4th chain from your hook, you're going to place a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet back into the same chain. And we'll skip 1, place a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all in that same stitch. And keep repeating that across. Skip 1, work a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet in the next. When you have 2 stitches left, skip 1 and half double crochet in the last. Turn your work and chain 2, which will count as your first half double crochet stitch. Skip the first half double crochet and in the chain space work a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Then skip 2 and in the next chain space work a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Keep repeating that across, skipping 2, working half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all in the chain space. When you get to the last 2 stitches, you're going to skip the last half double crochet. In the top of the second skipped chain, you'll place a half double crochet. Turn your work and we'll repeat that row. Keep repeating that row until you get 11.5 inches tall. For square 6, we are in color gold and the stitch multiple is an odd number, plus 2 for the starting chain. Chain 37 loosely, or you might consider going up a hook size for this chain and then switching back down to the 5mm to work the rows. Skip the first 2 chains. The skip chains will count as the first single crochet, and then place a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, all in the next chain. You might consider putting a stitch marker here in those skip chains so you don't forget to work into it on the next row. And now we are going to do our repeat across. We're going to skip one chain, and then in the next chain space we're going to place a single crochet, chain one, single crochet, all in that same chain. Then we'll keep repeating that across until we have 2 chains left. Okay, when you have 2 chains left, you'll skip one chain, single crochet in the last chain, and turn your work. You'll have 53 stitches for row 1. Okay, for row 2 you're going to chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch, skip 1 stitch, and in the next chain space, the chain 1 space, we're going to place a single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet, all in that same chain space. Then you're going to skip the next 2 stitches and place in the next chain space all 3 stitches, a single crochet, half double crochet, and a double crochet. We'll continue to repeat that across, skip 2, work all 3 stitches in the next chain space until you have 1 single crochet and the turning chain left. Okay, we have our single crochet and our turning chain left, so we're going to skip the single crochet and work into the turning chain. We're placing a single crochet into that spot, that turning chain there. And then you're ready to turn your work. Okay, so for row 3, chain 1, single crochet back into that same stitch, skip 1 stitch, and in the next half double crochet, the center stitch we did in our 3, we're going to place a single, chain 1, single crochet, all in that stitch. And then we'll start our repeat across, skip 2, place a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet back into that same stitch, and then we'll keep repeating that across until there are 2 stitches left. Okay, we have our last 2 stitches here, so I'm going to skip this one and single crochet in that last stitch. And then we're ready to turn. And now we're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 for the height to 11.5 inches. For square 7, we are in the color Rose Heather. The stitch multiple is an odd number, and we will start with the chain of 39. Then in the 3rd chain from your hook, place 2 half double crochets, 1, 2. Skipped chains don't count as a stitch here. Skip 1 chain, place 2 half double crochets in the next, 1, 2. And then we're going to repeat that. Skip 1, place 2 half double crochets in the next, keep repeating that until you have 2 chains left. When you have 2 chains left, skip 1, place 1 half double crochet in the last, and then you're ready to turn. For row 2, we'll chain 1, which doesn't count, and then we'll place 2 half double crochets in that same starting stitch right here. Very first stitch, 1, 2. Skip 1, place 2 half double crochets in the next, skip 1, place 2 half double crochets in the next. Keep repeating that across until you have 2 stitches left. When you have 2 stitches left, skip 1 and half double crochet in the last stitch. You're going to turn your work and repeat that 1 row until your square measures 11.5 inches tall. Square number 8, we're using the dark rose heather, and the stitch multiple is an odd number. So you're going to chain 45. Then single crochet in the second chain from your hook, and in each chain across. You'll have 44 stitches. Then turn your work, chain 1, which doesn't count as a stitch. Single crochet in that first stitch there. Now we're going to start our repeat across by single crocheting 2 together. Then chain 1. You'll want to make those chain 1s loosely. Then we'll keep repeating that across until you have only 1 stitch left. Single crochet 2 together, chain 1 loosely. Notice that we're not skipping any stitches in between our single crocheting 2 together. Okay, we now have 1 stitch left. We'll just single crochet in that last stitch and turn. We're going to repeat that 1 row until our square measures 11.5 inches. So we start with the chain 1, that doesn't count, single crochet in the same stitch. Now we're going to single crochet 2 together, but this time we're working into the single crochet 2 together stitch and the chain 1. So if you turn and look at the top, it's easy to see where to insert your hook. Single crochet 2 together, chain 1 loosely. Single crochet 2 together, chain 1 loosely. Keep repeating that across. When you have 1 stitch left, single crochet in that last stitch, and you're ready to turn and repeat. Okay, for square 9, we are working in natural heather, and the stitch multiple is 4 plus 4 for the starting chain. So you'll chain 40. Okay, place 2 double crochets in the 5th chain from your hook. Those skip chains will count as your first double crochet of the row. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets directly in the following chain. Then we'll skip 2 chains. And in the next chain, we're going to start our repeat across. 2 double crochets in the following chain. And 2 double crochets in the very next chain. Skip 2 chains and repeat across until you have 2 stitches left. 2 double crochets, next chain, and 2 double crochets in the following chain. When you have 2 chains left, you'll skip 1 and double crochet in the last. Then you'll turn your work and we're ready for row 2. We'll start with a chain 3 that counts as our first double crochet of the row. Skip this double crochet, and in the second we'll place 2 double crochets. In the following double crochet, we'll place 2 more double crochets. Then we'll skip 2 double crochets and place 2 double crochets in the following. And 2 more double crochets in the next. And then we'll just keep repeating that. Skip 2, place 2, place 2 more in the next. Once you've repeated that across the row and you have just 2 stitches left, you're going to skip the next double crochet and place a double crochet in the top chain here, the 3rd chain. Now you're ready to have a 1 row repeat of row 3 there. Just keep repeating that until your square is about 11.5 inches tall. Okay, for square 10, we are working in the color gold. Your stitch multiple is 8 plus 7. You're going to chain 39. In the 5th chain from your hook, you're going to place 5 double crochets. Okay, the skip chains are going to count as your first double crochet of the row. Skip 3 chains, place 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets all in the next chain. Then skip 3 chains, place 5 double crochets all in the same chain. Skip 3 chains and keep repeating until you have 2 chains left. Then you will skip 1 and double crochet in the last. For row 2, we'll start with the chain 3. That counts as our first double crochet. We're going to skip 2 double crochets, and in the center, we'll place 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets back into the same stitch. Then we're going to skip the next 4, all the double crochets, and work into the chain 1 space. We'll place 5 double crochets there. Skip those next 4. In the middle double crochet, we'll place 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. Keep repeating that across, alternating between solid shells of 5 double crochets and the 2 chain 1, 2. Notice you're putting the solid in the one with the chain 1 and the one with the chain 1 in the solid. When you have 3 stitches left, we're going to skip those last 2 double crochets and just double crochet into the top of that skip chain there. So now we'll start with the chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet. Skip the first 2, place 5 double crochets all in that chain 1 space. Skip the next 4 stitches, and in your center stitch we'll place 2 double crochets. Chain 1 and place 2 more double crochets all in that same stitch. And we'll just keep repeating those across, again alternating with a solid shell of 5 double crochet into the chain 1 space, and then 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet into the center of your solid 5 double crochet shells. Keep repeating. When you get to the end, skip those last 2 double crochet stitches and double crochet into the top of the 3rd chain. Keep repeating those 2 rows until your square is 11.5 inches tall. Okay, we're ready to make the 11th square, which is in color Cranberry, this dark red here. The stitch multiple is 3 plus 5 for the starting chain, and you are going to start with a chain of 47. Okay, in the 3rd chain from your hook, you're going to place 3 double crochets, all in that same chain. These skip chains here will count as our first double crochet of the row. Now we're going to skip 2 chains and place 3 double crochets in the next chain. Then we'll keep repeating that across. Skip 2, place 3 double crochets in the next. Keep repeating that until there are 2 chains left. When you have 2 chains left, skip 1 and double crochet in the last. You'll have 47 stitches for row 1. Okay, turn your work, and for row 2, we'll start with a chain 1. That does not count as a stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in this first stitch. Then we're going to front loop, single crochet in each stitch across. So I'll just go under the front loop, the one closest to me, and make a regular single crochet. And keep repeating that all the way across the row. And remember, these skipped chains do count, so we need to work into that. We'll still have 47 stitches. Turn, and for row 3, we'll start with the chain 2, which counts as our first half double crochet stitch of the row. We're going to skip the next stitch and work a half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet all in the same stitch. Row 3 is our right side. Then we'll skip the next 2 stitches and repeat that across. Half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet all in the same stitch, skip 2. Keep repeating that across until you have 2 stitches left in the row. You're going to skip 1 and half double crochet in the last. Turn your work. For row 4, we'll chain 2, which also counts as your first half double crochet of the row. Then we're going to skip the next stitch and place a half double crochet, chain one, half double crochet, all in the next chain one space. Skip this half double crochet and work into the chain space. Make a half double crochet, chain one, half double crochet, all in that chain one space. Then skip two, one, two, and in the chain one space we will make the same half double crochet, chain one, half double crochet, skip the next two, and continue repeating that across. When you have two stitches left, you skip that half double crochet and then place one half double crochet in the last stitch, which is the top of the second chain. Then we're ready to turn and work row 5. For row 5, we'll start with the chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet. We're going to skip the next stitch, and in this chain 1 space we're going to work 3 double crochets. Then we'll skip 2, this stitch and this stitch, and in the chain 1 space we'll work 3 double crochets and skip 2 and keep repeating across until we have 2 stitches left. When you have 2 stitches left, skip 1 double crochet in the last, which is the second chain. Now you're going to turn and repeat rows 2 through 5 until your square measures about 11.5 inches tall. All right, we're going to make square 12 in the color wheat. Our stitch multiple is 4 plus 1 for the starting chain. So for a 12-inch square, you're going to chain 41. In the third chain from your hook, you're going to place a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet back into the same chain, skip 1 chain and single crochet in the next, skip 1 chain and double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same chain. Now we're going to repeat. Skip 1 chain, single crochet in the following, skip 1 chain, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same, and then we'll start that repeat over. You'll keep repeating that until your last 2 chains. Then you'll skip 1 and single crochet in the last chain. Okay, so we'll turn our work, and for row 2 we'll start with a chain 4. This will count as our double crochet and chain 1. Then we're going to skip this first double crochet and we'll place a single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip this double crochet, and then double crochet into the next single crochet, chain 1, skip the double crochet, and then we're going to repeat. Single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the next double crochet into the single crochet, chain 1, skip the next double crochet. Repeat that across until you have 2 stitches left. Single crochet in the last chain space, chain 1, double crochet in the last double crochet. You'll have 1 more stitch in this row than your first row, so 41 stitches across. When you make the chain 3, the double crochet in the 4th chain, a chain 1, so that counts as 2 stitches. Turn your work for row 3. Chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to skip this chain 1, and we will place in the single crochet a double, chain 1, and another double, all in that same single crochet stitch. Then we'll skip the next chain 1, and in the next double crochet we'll place a single crochet. And then we'll start our repeat across. Skip the chain 1. In the next single crochet, place a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Skip the chain 1, place a single crochet in the double crochet there. Keep repeating that across until the last 4 stitches, which is where I'm at now on my small swatch. Skip this chain 1. In the next single crochet, we'll place another double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Then we'll skip the chain 1 or the 4th chain there, and in the 3rd chain we will place our last single crochet of this row, and this row will bring us back to 40 stitches. Okay, so now you're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3, the last 2 rows we did, until your square reaches about 11.5 inches tall. Okay, after you've finished making all 12 squares, it's time to block each one to 12 inches. Remember, each square should be bordered in single crochet of the same color of the square. After you've blocked them to 12 inches, it's now time to add a single crochet border around each square using the same color that you will use to sew your squares together. This gives us a really nice finish for our join. So for me, that color is Fisherman, which is this cream off-white color. So you just join to any corner with a slip stitch and add your single crochet border around in the same way you already did with the single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in each corner. Then you can cut your yarn for those and you'll have your 12 squares ready to get set up in your layout, which is our next step. So you'll arrange your squares in your desired order. Here is how I arranged mine. Place them all right side up. It also helps to take a picture of how you are ordering them for seaming. Now it's time to sew the squares together, and you're going to use the same color yarn as your single crochet border. You'll need a length of yarn and your yarn needle. Remember to work on the right side of your squares. Use the whip stitch to sew them together. Sew them vertically first in long strips, and then come back and sew them horizontally. You're going to go through the centered 2 loops, for one from each square, and you want to sew snugly, but don't pull too tight. And when adding on another pair of squares, you just continue in the same way. Be sure to catch 1 loop from each square at the join, and don't worry if it doesn't seem too secure. When you come back through to sew them together horizontally, you'll be able to strengthen the join again. Leave about a 6-inch tail when starting, finishing, or joining new yarn so that you have a tail to weave away securely, especially from the sewing seams. Okay, once all your squares are sewn together, it's time to do your border. So I'm using this, starting with the same color that I bordered my squares in and that I have sewn together with. And we are going to start with another round of single crochet around in Fisherman around the entire blanket. Then for round 2 of the border, we're going to change to gray and make a double crochet round for that border. And then round 3 is a half double crochet round in Fisherman. Change to gray again for round 4, and we'll single crochet around, and then finish off with another round of single crochet in Fisherman. And then it's time to cut yarn, weave in all your ends, and then block your blanket again, focusing on the border and the joining seams, the things that didn't get blocked when you did your squares individually. Remember, there are detailed video tutorials for you on how to sew the blanket squares together and how to do the border pattern.